And I have your presentation here. I just had to put it up. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Thank you.
And if you want to go forward and backward here, is that all right?
Perfect. So, yeah, as been said before, thank you to Deirdre and Catherine for putting on this lovely show today.
Louder, please.
Thanks for everybody who's already spoke as well. I recognise a few faces in the crowd. I know that To Go Club's been in Malahide for a few years now, so if any of you do recognise us, I will just quickly go through it for anybody that's unfamiliar. So firstly, we kind of got to cover the problem of why is To Go Club a thing? So we use a crazy amount of paper cups. This figures are actually taken from a 2018 study from My Waste.
Sorry,
So,
we can't hear you.
in Ireland, we use a crazy amount of paper cups. These are figures from a 2018 My Waste study. So after the pandemic, I'd imagine these figures would have probably gone up by close to 20 to 40% based on the actual amount of volume of coffee shops that opened in those years. So it's crazy when you think about it that 22,000 cups are being used every hour, and these are things that are being used once. And most people think about them once as well, and that's when they're empty and they have to go into a bin. Touching on what you were speaking about, waste segregation is such a large issue in coffee shops. When you're in a next coffee shop, I recommend have a look how many coffee shops have segregated bins and how many of the bins are chock full of paper cups that people have sat in the business drinking out of. It is definitely a mindset thing, and it's behavioural change that we can change very easily. So just show of hands in the room, who here has a reusable cup? And now keep your hand in the air if you wouldn't get a coffee if you didn't bring your reusable cup. That's a very healthy percentage. Actually, quite a healthy percentage for what I usually get with that question. Unfortunately, humans are creatures of habit, and if we don't have the opportunity to use a reusable cup, we'll most likely go with the path of least resistance, which is just taking the paper. So, as you can see here, about 70% of the country have a reusable cup, and in most cases, more than one reusable cup. The issue is most of them don't have it on a day-to-day basis. So businesses have to be able to serve takeaway coffee to their customers, and the easiest way to do that is by providing a paper cup which they can take with them. Now, Keep Cup is great, but it's not solving the key issues, which is, one, we're human, we forget things all the time. If your cup is in the car or it's at home, you can't use it, you have to be part of the problem. The second thing is, you also have to clean your cup every time, which is not very appealing to us humans because we don't like having to do extra work. And it's another thing that you can forget. And how many times you've been held up in a coffee shop because you've heard somebody at the front of the queue say, sorry, would you mind just rinsing that out for me? And you see the barista scoff. Nobody wants to be that kind of person. So a lot of people will just avoid that issue and go for the waste. So we tried to make a simpler way of doing this. So instead of having to rely on the customer to bring the reusable cup, we decided the business should be able to provide an alternative to customers that would be A, cost effective for both the business and the customer, affordable most certainly for the business and the customer, convenient to use so that you're not having to remember your cup and keep it clean every time, and as well be a net benefit to the environment. So it's very simple how we got to that, but I think there's another slide in between. So as we talked about earlier, some people mentioned behavioural change and bringing the issues closer to home and looking about what you can do in your local area. So to follow on from what we did down in Killarney, where we had the first town go single use free, you can't get a paper cup in the entire town, it started very similar to what we're doing right now. We brought in key stakeholders, business owners, baristas, managers of the cafes. We got them into one room. We explained what it is that To Go Club does and how it works. And then we tackled where are the issues that Killarney are going to see and how can we address those issues ahead of time to make this run smooth. So, for example, down in Killarney, the big issue was seasonal tourism. As I'm sure you know, Killarney is the 51st state. There is thousands of American people that visit there on a daily basis. We actually did this talk in these pictures on the 5th of July, which was very strange to see, or maybe it's the 5th of June, whichever one. They have a 4th of July parade down there. It was very insane to see. But so we have to make sure that we can communicate to tourists effectively how this will work, and also that we can get them to engage in it, because it's all great to have these reusable cups, but if nobody's using them, they're just an extra piece of plastic that is now going to be ended up as waste again. So we brought in everybody we could, we talked through the scheme, we saw where the problems were going to come, and we made sure that we all came together for one shared goal. It's a lot easier to get people to change their mind and join you on a journey if it's very easy to get across where it is that you want to take them. And the shared goal that we said was we want to protect Killarney National Park and have no more paper cups in the park, because that was the biggest offender in terms of waste collecting that Tidy Towns groups had found when they were going out doing their cleanups. So that was the key goal. We want to get rid of all the paper cups, and now it's a question of how can we achieve that. So from To Go Cup's point of view, it's really, really simple for customers to be involved. You don't need to download an app, you don't need to sign up. It's just a simple €2 deposit. You receive your reusable To Go Cup on top of the cost of your coffee, and then the next time you're free to walk away, take your cup with you. When you're finished, you'll have a dirty cup that's hopefully empty if you enjoyed your coffee. At that stage, you can go back. So for example, a Dough coffee in the town, you can drop in your reusable cup back to them. You'll get your €2 back if that's what you'd like. Or you can simply order another coffee, swap in your dirty cup, receive a totally fresh, clean cup with your next coffee. The business then cleans that cup and it's ready to go again. So once you're into the scheme, it's totally free to keep swapping as many times as you'd like. It's really convenient for you. You don't have to remember your cup, you can simply rent another one. So we're trying to tackle all the little human problems that are surrounding sustainability and takeaway coffee. Now, the smart part about the scheme is it works exactly the same on the flip side for the business. Once a business gets in with To Go Cup, let's say they have 10 cups to start off with, that would be 10 cups at €2 each, so it would be a €20 buy-in to get those cups. If those 10 cups are taken away by 10 customers, that's €2 by 10 that have come in from customers, €20 in deposits again, essentially covering the cost for the business. But not only that, if those cups do not return, let's say, for example, down in Killarney, 10 American tourists come in, decide this is brilliant, I'm going to take this home with me and get on the plane. Those businesses are now down cups, but they have the deposits remaining so that they can simply reinvest those deposits back into To Go Cups again, meaning that they themselves don't actually pay for the cups. It's now the customers that are paying for any returning cups. So not only are we cost saving by removing the cost of the paper cups, we're also creating a cost neutral circular economy where every cup that leaves will pay for itself. So taking some of these figures from some of the cafes we had down in Killarney, most cafes are doing around 200 to 300 a day. So we picked one that's a little bit outside the town. This is Dina Cafe. They're doing 100 coffees a day, roughly at 20 cents each, 7 days a week. So their cost for the year would be, their weekly cost, which would be 700 cups at 20 cents, which is, my maths is okay, about 140 a week, somewhere around there. Multiplying that out for the year, you can see it would come out to about £7,000. As we say there, if you need 700 cups for a week, that would be 700 by €2 for your To Go cups, that would be €1,400. That's a large weekly cost, but as I just explained there, that weekly cost will be your total cost for the year, because every cup that you require surplus to that week will be paid for by a deposit that has been brought in by a customer. So as you can see here, this is a pretty big saving, and just by taking this number of how many cups you'd be using, 700 a week by 52, and multiplying it out by the average weight of the cup, which is about 0.08 grams, we come up to about 346 kg of waste saved just from paper cups, which in most cases are ending up in the general waste bin going to landfill. So this seems fairly attractive from a business point of view, but as you start to scale up and to do more coffee, busier environments, you start to see the absolutely incredible amount of money that are being spent on an object that is designed to end up in a bin. It is such planned obsolescence from a design point of view. It is made to be convenient, and then you're not supposed to think about them. If you think about paper cups, you generally think about the branding on the paper cup, not the waste itself. So again, coming on to, this is a very, very large cafe down in it's Luna. If anybody even used to know Killarney, absolutely phenomenal cafe, would recommend it. But they've completely removed every part of waste. They have no paper, sugar, they have spoons. They've made all the little steps to make a big difference, and it really shows people in there. Every single person knows about what they're doing, and they all know that they need to care in order for the customers to. Just again about the cup itself, it's a new version of the cup. We brought it out about 3 years ago. It has a planned life cycle of about 1,000 uses. So on the outside of the cup, if any of you know it, there's a raised logo. That logo is designed to wash down, and eventually when it goes flat, that's the sign that it's hit end of life. You can pop it into a green bin, or you can return it to a cafe for your money back, and replace that cup free of charge for the cafe. Coming on to the Killarney project again, so as I said, it's really about trying to create a goal so that you can set a guideline, set a goal as to where you want to end up at the end. So we had said we wanted to be completely single-use free. We achieved that with over 55 businesses, as you can see they're all signed up. There was only one business, a small takeaway outlet, a drive-through takeaway outlet, about 40 minutes outside the town, and they said they actually don't need to use paper cups anymore because all of their customers simply have a To Go cup in their car when they drive in. So even companies that aren't involved directly are still getting benefits of the behavioural change of the customers. It came up to about 1 year there on the 31st of July, and we did the maths based off the Clarny Cup project's figures, which they estimated at the start of the project. They would have used about 1.1 million paper cups over the course of last year. I think we ended up using just under 68,000 to-go cups. So that's about, as you can see there, about 8% of the single-use cup quantity that were required. So the carbon figures there for to-go cups versus a paper cup, when we originally started making them, we were making them abroad. It was about 15 times if you use a to-go cup before it was environmentally friendly. Now it's down to 9 because they're produced domestically now. So as long as these cups are used 9 times, they're carbon friendly, but we're also producing absolutely no waste. So based off these figures, we are both carbon positive and produce no waste in the entirety of 12 months. So it's been an absolutely resounding success, and we can't really take the credit for that. It was all about business owners on the ground in Killarney wanting to make a change, and then understanding how we can take those customers on the journey. So a huge congratulations is due for one, the Killarney Cup project as a separate entity, which did drive this on the ground, but also all the businesses being involved and understanding what their role is to play. And yeah, we continue to grow. We've about 700 members now, which is about 100% rise as we were last year. And like there are some big names in here, as you can see, there's Intel somewhere, Queen's University Belfast, but then it's right down to just independent cafes on the ground, Mocha Carlo, Dublin Airport, we're doing a little bit of work, Nick's Coffee, which is our local now out in Wicklow. It can be done and it can make changes, but if you want to make big sustainable change, you need to bring people together and we need to agree on where we're going to go. So hopefully we can achieve this name now with the Malahide Coffee Cup project. And, yeah, that is, thank you.